Hi everybody, it's David Fleming here from the Toronto Realty Group, and welcome back to this week's Pick 5. Now, what do you think of when you hear the word duplex? Well, maybe you think of that movie from 2001, 2002. It had Ben Stiller, it had Drew Barrymore. I don't think I saw it, maybe like on a bad date or something. But ironically, I think of that movie often because, well, that's how Hollywood portrays duplexes. It's probably like a $5 million New York brownstone that happens to have 2 apartments. But when you get people that aren't from Toronto and they come up here, they're expecting to see just a host of what they call apartments. Not apartments like up in a building somewhere, but apartments like duplexes and triplexes, purpose built. We have very few of those in Toronto, or at least a lot fewer proportionally than other cities around the world. What I wanted to do today is look at duplexes, legal duplexes, properties that are registered in land registry as a duplex, and look at them and say, is this what we had in mind when we thought duplex? Now, the other thing people think of when they think duplex from a buying standpoint is, hey, why don't I live in one of the units, rent the other one out, and help pay my mortgage? What you will find, cat out of the bag here, is that a lot of these properties aren't really in that great shape. Now, I don't want to paint all landlords with the same brush, but many landlords, especially when it comes to freeholds and duplexes, they don't really put any money into them. One of these in particular, like from Google Street View, and I thought, geez, just looking from the outside, it looks like it's not in the best shape. So with that in mind, guys, let's go to my map here, and I'm gonna show you what we're looking at. We've got one up here, Eglinton West, one down here near Trinity Bellwoods, got one in the beach, one in the Midtown area, one in North York. Wow, okay, this is awesome. Away we go. So we're going to start here with a property that's listed for $898,000. Now this is a bungalow, it's detached. And the first thing you might think, like I did, is this actually a duplex? Yes, it is. Now if you go to Geo Warehouse, and I'm gonna show you this, 165 Lampton, as you can see here, and when we scroll down, property type, duplex. Amazing. So a duplex, it's got a unit in the main, it's got a unit in the basement. Here you can see kitchens 1+1. There are so many listings on the MLS system that will say that they are a duplex when they've got a basement apartment. Does that change the definition for you? So on the one hand, I would say, well, usually, as we'll see with the next few properties, you know, the basement's unfinished. You've got main floor and second floor, and there's your purpose-built duplex. But you can also put a basement unit down there, go to the city and look for the legal designation and have it zoned duplex. Now, this is up at Lambton and Jane. Got a friend named Alec who lives out there, or used to. Haven't been there in a while, Alec. But when we bought your house, we got amazing Jamaican patties. Now, 28 by 180, great lot. It's a 2-bed plus 1 2-bath. What that means is on the main floor, you're gonna have a 2-bedroom apartment, unit, if you will, and downstairs, you're gonna have 1 bedroom. So what are we getting for $898? We have a detached house, as I mentioned. Freehold, detached, check those boxes, parking, driveway, semi-detached garage. But as is the case with a lot of investment properties that I've been seeing lately, well, the shape, not always the best. So this is decent, and what do we expect for $898,000? Okay, nice lighting, good room sizes, but this is effectively it. This is not a huge property. They've highlighted the bullet points here. We've got great light, but your kitchen, I wouldn't say needs to be redone. If you're an investor, you can certainly rent this out, but there's no appliances here. And there you go, bedroom, if you left some furniture behind, ceiling fans, dead giveaway that it's hot at night, and bathroom, unrenovated. So guys, I didn't pick properties today specifically because they're not in great shape, but rather I picked properties seemingly at random to try to show what a duplex in the city of Toronto is. Now here's the basement apartment. It doesn't have appliances. Do you consider this a duplex? Now we'll go through this one pretty quickly because, well, it's not the prettiest, but this thing needs work. Not just aesthetic, but you know, you're renting an apartment to somebody and it doesn't have appliances. This is somewhat representative of what you're going to find on MLS sub $900,000 in Toronto. And now I'm not making an argument for this being worth $900,000, but I am saying if this is what you're looking for under $1 million, trying to get a 2-unit property to buy one and rent the other one out, you'd better get used to it. Now it's a great lot, as I said, it's 180 feet, it's a huge piece of land, but as for the property itself, probably not my fave. Now, the fact that it's been on the market for 82 days and already reduced in price, yeah, that seems to reason. I think it's probably going to take a little bit longer to move this one. Now the next one here, guys, is 29 Snowden. So Snowden, if you're familiar with the street, it's in North Toronto, great location. And here we can see from the photo, which I will zoom in on, it looks like a purpose-built duplex. This is 1599, it's been on the market 40 days. We've already changed the price. Now let's take a look at the street view just to say that we did. Here it is. And what you're gonna notice is amazing location for a rental property. You want tenants to have walkability. You're right off of Yonge Street, but are you a little too close to Yonge Street, let's say? We'd love to have that like one block further in, but I think that's reflected in the price. Now here you can see through our Geo Warehouse map, there we are. It's backing onto the commercial. And then we can go down here and we can see, yes, property type, it is in fact a duplex. So for $1.6 million, what are we expecting here? I mean, hopefully it's in a little bit better shape than the last one that we saw. From the front, this is a classic look of a purpose-built duplex. This reminds me of what I had in university. It was the same on the main level as it was upstairs, identical layout. I remember seeing the unit, the person upstairs. The difference is I had a pretty sick balcony off the main, or a terrace rather, and they had a balcony. So walk in and we can see older rads, but big open concept spaces. This feels like an apartment in a duplex. If you've ever lived in one, you know just by walking in. Now they've closed up the fireplaces, they've got an open concept kitchen. So 1.6 million. And if you're accustomed to watching Pick 5, we show some pretty beautiful properties now and again. I don't know that we're gonna get that vibe today. This is more educational in nature, could be very disappointing in nature for people that are like, what does 1.6 get me in terms of a duplex? Yeah, guys, this is it. But this is Snowden. And you might say this is worth 1.5 or even 1.4, but this isn't Snowden. This is a phenomenal opportunity long term, and I don't think that this might be part of, let's say, a land assembly play, but the fact that this is situated that close to Yonge Street gives it some value. Now you might worry about potential noise from the subway. I believe that's actually going to be felt on the other side of Yonge Street. I remember bidding on a house once where I was going absolutely crazy thinking, can I feel the subway? But here you've got two units. It's a pretty decent space. They're okay renovated. But for $1.6 million, are you the user that's going to buy this, move into one of these units, be totally happy, and then rent the other one out? Or for $1.6 million, can you buy like an absolutely killer 3-bed, 2-bath, semi-detached on the east side? Here you can see the other unit here. Identical floor plan, just different finishes. So usually, I like how they blocked out this car in paint. So it does have one car parking. So yeah, usually when you're buying a duplex, you'll say, okay, you know what? I'm going to take the better unit and rent out the other one. There is a friend of my daughter's from school. Her landlord lives in the basement apartment and they rent the house upstairs, which is like a 5-bed, 5-bath house. So that's interesting. So maybe you don't need the space, but here, as I mentioned, this was me in university, right? I didn't have the backyard, but main floor, you've got a big terrace, and then upstairs, the person above me had this teeny little balcony. Here you can see they've got their own outdoor space. So when you're selling an investment property, sure, you want to show the guts of the house, some good photos there. Well, actually, it was just one. But yeah, I mean, listen, there's the alleyway. There's the buildings on Yonge Street. We took a look at the map. This building here looks like a professional building. This is Yonge Street, and our property's right here. So tough for the buyer who's got the budget for 1.6 million, and we're not even getting into the idea of insurance on a property like this. I don't think you're going to have issues with down payment requirements or higher interest rates you would if it was, say, 4+ units. But for the buyer of this, it's a tough decision. Do I buy this unit, this house? Do I rent the upstairs for $3,000 a month? And do I help pay my mortgage? Or do I go and look for something a little bit nicer, maybe not detached and on as big a lot? Because this is 25 by 125 prime right off of Yonge Street. So we'll take a look at the next one. And this too, you can see from the photo, looks exactly like what we would expect. This looks like a duplex. Now this is two semis put together. So Glen Manor, it's in the beach. Let's take a look. And here's where I wanted to show you this photo. This is like Duplex Alley. Look at this. These are all purpose-built duplexes. So this is the beach. This is a phenomenal location. And here's where some real estate investors will say, look, location, location, location. I don't care about things like the cap rate. I don't care about the yield. I'm buying long-term. How do these appreciate? They should theoretically appreciate based on the rents, based on the cap rates. But I'd be willing to bet on this street. See over here, you've got a little apartment building, and then you've got some freeholds, but I'd be willing to bet that there are individuals on this stretch that own multiple properties. Duplex, 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 right? They all look the same. That to me is where, personally, if I was looking to buy a duplex, I would want to buy on an entire street of like properties. So this one is listed for $1,699,000, 3 beds plus 2. And what do we got? Baseboard electric. Man, that means it's old, and that means, you know what, it's going to be a little bit pricey. So let's go to the photos and we'll take a look. This one's much nicer than the first 2 that we saw. Great little drone shot here. And lake, boardwalk, house. What more do you need to know from an investment standpoint or for a user standpoint? You got a little carried away with the drone here. Okay, so let's go inside. Boom, there we go. All of a sudden you look at the place in Snowden and you're like, wait, what? That was 1,599, this is 1,699. Yeah, now there might be some virtual staging in here, I'm not sure, but this is pretty nice. And this is for the person that's saying, yeah, I actually am thinking about investing in an income producing property. We can live in there for a few years. We can rent the other one. This is the kind of thing you're looking at. But of course, this is 1.7 million. We started with that little bungalow that was 898, but this you could live in. Absolutely. So I mentioned electric baseboards. Those are more expensive. You can see them right here. People might say, geez, I'd like to convert to forced air gas. You've got to run ductworks. If there's no ductworks, it's not cheap. So this thing is turnkey. This thing is absolutely beautiful. This looks like a professional investor. They've done a great job. Now, if you don't have a finished basement that you can, put shared laundry in, maybe you have the all-in-one unit here, which kind of feels like it's floating out in the hallway. But there, look, you've got electric baseboard and you've got its bedroom's own individual air conditioner, which is nice. This thing looks really upgraded. Good layout of photos. Going up to the next unit, similar idea. All right, maybe not as polished, floors aren't as new, but we've got the exposed brick wall. Similar layout. I mean, almost identical floor plate, but it's not open concept here. That's fine. So as I said, my daughter's friend, the house that their family is renting, well, the landlord that owns the property lives in the basement apartment. So you don't always have to take the nicest, although a single landlord living in a 5-bed, 5-bath, yeah, that wouldn't make a lot of sense. So here you can see, obviously, this unit is not as polished as the other one, but still pretty nice. And there is a lower level here, right? Here you go. So what you do see in a lot of these duplexes is that there are 2 legal units and then an illegal basement apartment, or sometimes just finished basement space that goes with one of the units. So from a floor plan standpoint, there's your laundry, backyard, and I believe that is it. So from a floor plan standpoint, let's scroll down and we'll see. So ground floor is living, kitchen, dining, bed. And then you've got basement, living, bed, bed. And then upstairs, living, dining, kitchen, bed. So 2-bedroom apartment on the 2nd floor, main and basement, bedroom, bedroom, bedroom. Does that make sense? That's your 3 bedrooms. So 3 bedrooms plus 2. It's a little confusing. These 2 bedrooms go with one of these 3 bedrooms to form one unit, but anything below grade is called a plus, if that makes sense. So phenomenal location here. Only a 22 by 100 foot lot, and yes, it is semi-detached, but location is absolutely key. This is on a stretch where every property is a purpose-built duplex of a semi-variety, and these units are pretty well polished. Okay, so the next one here, guys, is 217 Gladstone, which again looks like a purpose-built duplex. Now, 217 Gladstone, my issue would be, well, we've got a big building next to us. We've got, a laneway next to us. So we're right next to there. That's always a bit of a cause for concern. And then this is the one I mentioned when I looked at Google Street View. Yeah, it's not the most updated. It's not the most polished. And you might say, hey, David, a coat of paint right there is not a big issue. But, well, when I look at something like this, $1,788,000, yes, it's 2.5 story. Yes, it's a huge lot, 38.5 feet. How much of that's actually usable? Like, that feels ridiculously wide to me. It might be that little side lot there. Built in 1895. And then here I mentioned, it's a legal duplex. Can we go to, where are we here? 217 Gladstone. Let's scroll down and we'll see. Oops, I went too far. I am scrolling here. See this legal duplex? Yes, but 1895, and it's got a basement unit. My spidey sense is kind of up with this one. So take a look, right? That's what I meant by it's got this huge frontage. See this sort of side yard situation, so you've got a parking space, so it might be an irregular lot. Actually, if you bear with me, I want to go back and see here. Yeah, check this out, guys. So see, that's your 38-foot frontage, but triangular in nature. So that's where you're getting that huge frontage from. So photo-wise, as I said, from the front, yeah, it looks like, okay, it could use a little bit of paint, TLC. But what about on the inside? Well, on the inside, you have beautiful period pieces. There's no question about that. Original 100, let's see, 530 years old, did some quick math there. And then inside, yeah, it looks like it's tenanted. You know, or it could be an older person that's living here, got some older furniture. But this thing for $1.8 million, yeah, I don't know that someone's buying this and getting excited to move into this. So then if you're a user, there's a back door there. If you're a user, the question is, if I'm buying this and I'm renovating it, well, what's my budget? That renovation budget is coming out of what I would think is your down payment budget. So if you're going to spend $300,000 to fix this up, and say you're buying this house for, you know, $1.7 million, and you've got your $240,000 down, well, now you've got a $540,000 in cash because you've got to renovate it. So then you go upstairs and, you know, stage a little bit nicer, but it's still in need of some work. And you might say need. I mean, does this kitchen need to be redone? Well, no, but you'd like to. And I think it's fair to say needs. So this one looks like, you know, oops, same photo twice. This one looks like it's been updated a little bit more recently, and then you've got that top level. But point being here, and there's your virtual staging, I picked 5 at random, guys. And I don't know, I think we're, 1 for 4 so far? So this thing, to me, it's a legal duplex. It's a dynamite location. Did we look at the location? I did show you the house itself. Let's zoom out. And you can see, yeah, super location. Now, this is Dundas Street West. So it's very close to Dundas. This is a big apartment building, but phenomenal location, right? In the heart of what? Beacons Court Village. What is this? Bickford? I'm upside down here. I'm backwards. But no, honestly, this is a phenomenal location in Queen West. So here's King Street here. Here's Queen Street. Here's Dundas. Sorry, this is Queen Street. King is down here. But a great location, and just, you know, the house. It needs work. What if this was 1,588? It's more appealing, but it needs the work. And then how are you going to portion all that space? And then that +1, right? I don't know about that. I like the purpose-built duplex. I like, for my money, I'm going to skip backwards here, I like this guy here on Glen Manor. I mean, who wouldn't? But seriously, I did pick these 5 at random from a list that started at, I don't know, 800,000 up to 2 million, just to kind of compare and contrast. And I think so far we're doing a pretty good job of that. So the last one here, guys, is 147 Highbourne. Now let's go to 147 Highbourne. And once again, you can see purpose-built. You're on a row of all kind of purpose-built duplexes. And these have a different shape to them. But this here, this is 2 doors. 1, 2. And well, you can actually see the 2 doors. Now, do they have separate addresses? Are they owned differently? All along this street, you've got semi-detached duplexes. And this here, you can see 23 by 130. That's half of this right here. So you can also see 3 kitchens. So this is, I'm going to go to 147 Highbourne. Here we go. And we can see property type duplex. This is a duplex, which has a 3rd kitchen. The basement says partly finished. Show me a floor plan here, because I'm definitely curious to know a partly finished basement, but a 3rd unit. So this is primary bedroom. Okay, gotcha, I'm with you. Kitchen, dining. Okay, so that's unit number 1. And then we'll scroll down and we see primary, bedroom, kitchen, dining, living. Okay, I'm with you. And then basement, studio, apartment. It says 1,173 square feet, 23.5 by 15.9. I mean, yeah, okay, I'm with you on the math. That is a massive open space. I'm very excited to see that one. So, okay, it's a legal duplex, and we have 3 units. So the main floor and the second floor are going to be almost identical in terms of layout. We just saw that from the floor plans. Pretty typical tenanted photos. These could be from 10 years ago for all we know. You've got your radiators. You've got your enclosed kitchen with the little shorter chef window. And you might look at this and say, well, the one in Glen Manor was fully renovated. Why am I interested in this? Well, it would be location. It's a lot of money, there's no doubt about it, but this is in Chaplin Estates. This is seemingly an upgrade. I say seemingly because I, the beholder, obviously. But I would also say, if you're an amateur real estate enthusiast here, you're looking at this and thinking, boy, oh boy, tough job selling tenanted properties. Hey, you don't get to stage them, do you? So here we go down the side of the house. There we go. That's the back of the house. And there's our parking. And those are our photos. That's it. But yeah, that's all you get. It's tenanted. And you know you have to have permission from the tenants to take photos of their personal property. So when it comes time to list and sell something like this, here, living, dining, kitchen, primary, second bath, living, dining, kitchen, primary, second, and bath. There's your 2 units. They're identical, but how many photos did we have of each of them? And then where is that ridiculous basement apartment that we didn't get to see? Well, maybe the tenant didn't allow permission. So this is 83 days in the market at $1,850,000. Let's go back to the map, and I'm going to zoom out here, because if you're looking at that price and thinking that's a cuckoo bananas price, well, it's got a 3rd unit in the basement, and location-wise, you tell me if you prefer this location here, right? This is Eglinton, and this is Avenue. So this is in Chaplin. I want to turn this way, right? Here we go, Chaplin Estates. And this is, oh my God, I'm losing my bearings. That's obviously Chaplin. So there you go. So I think, go back to my pictures here for one sec. I think for my money, guys, we're all in alignment. 26 Glen Manor makes the most sense, but it is just a semi. And if you go back one property for $100,000 less, you get a detached that is right off of Yonge on Snowden, but it's not very nice. Not very nice might be the way that I would unfortunately conclude represents most duplexes in the city of Toronto. Now, if I wanted to look for 5 beautiful turnkey duplexes, I think I'd have to scrape and claw. I really do. And this is not for every investor. Some people look at these, they want to get them dirt cheap, get the tenants out, renovate them, and then charge higher rents. Okay, but then you get into tenancy issues. That's a whole other conversation. Many blog posts and many podcasts about that. Some people say, well, I want the simplest investment possible. I'm going to buy a 1-bedroom condo, but of course, well, that market didn't do so well. It's a long-term play. I bought 2 condos last year myself, thought we were at the trough. No, turns out this year we're in the trough. Hey, listen, I'm 20 years out, but for each individual investor, you've got a different timeline. You've got a different return in mind. And then, of course, how much work do you want to put into it? Because what we have seen today is a lot of these duplexes require work. And I'm talking from an investment standpoint. For the user, you show me these 5 properties. You're going to go drop $1.6 million, $1.8 million on a property. Do any of those units look like the ones that you want to live in? Yeah, you can charge rent for the other one. You can help pay down your mortgage. Or for your $1.8 million, you can go and buy a really nice single-family home. Anyways, guys, that was short. That was educational. That was not pretty Victorians or McMansions today, but they can't all be happy and pretty. So thank you so much for watching. As always, have a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now.